Which countries have the best singers? Hey gang, Ken Tamplin from Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I thought it'd be really interesting to take a look geographically at which countries have produced the best singers. Now, there's a criteria that we have to look at first. What eras are we talking about? So I tried to stay somewhere mid 60s to present. And then, is it fair to call a country like, let's say, Los Angeles, where people migrated to from another country to get famous? Is it fair to have the United States claim that singer? So I tried to be really fair about this. But I thought it would be really interesting, again, geographically or demographically, we're going to put a map of Europe on the screen, and I want you to focus on how small the UK is, okay? But I want to talk about how many singers have come out of the UK, bands actually, have come out of the UK, and I'm going to focus on the bands themselves rather than just naming off the singers. So if you're ready, let's start with the UK. The Beatles, Adele, Rolling Stones, The Who, The Animals, The Kinks, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Nazareth, Motorhead, Iron Maiden, Queen, Cream, UFO, The Clash, Sex Pistols, Robbie Williams, Radiohead, Oasis, Elton John, Amy Winehouse, The Bee Gees, Eurythmics, Blur, Muse, Fleetwood Mac, Bush, Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Seventh Angel, Pink Floyd, Iron Maiden, Jessie J, Spandau Ballet, Duran Duran, Will Young, Leona Lewis, Yes, Jethro Tull, Thin Lizzy, The Smiths, Coldplay, Van Morrison, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, The Clash, Duran Duran, Deep Purple, Simple Minds, Whitesnake, Elvis Costello, T-Rex, Black Sabbath. Did I say them already? I think I did. David Bowie, Eric Clapton, Dire Straits, ELO, Cream, Supertramp, The Police, King Crimson, Pretenders, Arctic Monkeys, The Hollies, Kate Bush, Phil Collins and Genesis, Depeche Mode, Jethro Tull, Billy Idol, Bad Company, Tom Jones, George Michael, Nazareth, Dave Clark 5, Def Leppard, Donovan, Elvis Costello, Ozzy Osbourne, The Sweet, Peter Frampton, The Cult, The Outfield, Cat Stevens, Dusty Springfield. Now, this is far from a total list, but this is a good flavor for that tiny little dot in all of Europe to take a look at. And if you look at everywhere from all of Eastern and Western Europe, the Soviet Union, go all the way over to China, I don't care. But that is an amazing assortee platter or assortment of singers that have come out from such a small place. So I kind of think the UK charts the top of the greatest singers and bands. Now let's take a look at bands from the United States. And again, it's not really fair because some of these guys kind of came from other places and emigrated or migrated, to Los Angeles or New York or something and made it successful. Now I didn't even include country bands. I didn't include jazz. I didn't include R&B. Shame on me. I just tried to get the bulk of the most popular bands from, like, says 60s to the current to present to current times. So let's look at top 50 American bands. So Foo Fighters, Flaming Lips. This is US. Let's do it again. Foo Fighters, Flaming Lips, Captain Beefheart, Stone Temple Pilots, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Bon Jovi, Pixies, Jefferson Airplane, Boston, Journey, Cheap Trick, Doobie Brothers, Blondie, Frank Zappa, Motley Crue, Santana, Pearl Jam, Chicago. By the way, Santana is a good example of, like, Carlos Santana, migrated from Mexico to LA and got popular that way. So, but I'm just including it anyway. Pearl Jam, Chicago, Hall & Oates, again, they kind of came to LA from, I think, Australia. Temptations, Heart, Kiss, Alice Cooper, Soundgarden, Grateful Dead, The Cars, Leonard Skinner, The Byrds, ZZ Top, Guns N' Roses. I think I said them already. Sorry if I did. The Ramones, Nirvana, which we've talked about before. Allman Brothers, Sly and the Family Stone, Steely Dan, Simon and Garfunkel, The Doors, Aerosmith, Creedence, Van Halen, Tom Petty, Sammy Hagar, Chicago, Styx, Beach Boys, Justin Timberlake, Michael Bolton, Dean Martin, Tony Braxton, Lionel Richie, Earth, Wind and Fire, Christina Aguilera, Eagles, Heart, Roy Orbison, Gloria Estefan, she's actually from Cuba, Barry Manilow, Carpenters, Boyz II Men, Jefferson Airplane, Linda Ronstadt, Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, John Mellencamp, almost done. By the way, tons of crooners that I haven't mentioned, but I just didn't feel like I should have. Maybe I should have, in fairness. But note that there was a lot of crooners, and I would have bored you with the list had I done that. Al Jolson, Sam Cooke, lots of Motown that I didn't include, so we could add a huge list of Motown to that. A lot of Middle America blues guys, Robert Johnson, like those kinds of guys. Gladys Knight, Stevie Wonder, Jackson 5, Smokey Robinson, Barbra Streisand, Kenny Rogers, Donna Summers, Garth Brooks, Perry Como, Billy Joel, Nat King Cole, Dionne Warwick, Frankie Valli, Johnny Cash, Neil Diamond, almost done, Diana Ross, Frank Sinatra, I think I said him, Beach Boys, Ray Charles, Whitney Houston, Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, Janet Jackson, James Brown, Stevie Wonder, Mariah Carey, Bing Crosby, Elvis Presley, Lady Gaga. Now, I'm going to put these two maps up. A map of the United States, a map of Europe that includes the UK. If you look at how big the demographic, geographically speaking, the United States is in land mass, in contrast or in comparison to the tiny little dot of the UK compared to all of Europe, it's pretty staggering. And if you go through, let's call it the longest lasting or the quality and caliber of the musicians that have come from the UK compared to the United States, I have to say the UK is in the lead. I mean, no doubt. Now, America's put out a lot of great talent, but I think it's interesting that such a small little thing, it's sort of like the vortex was hovering over the UK for all of this crazy talent to come out of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, predominantly 60s and 70s, and then it sort of migrated to the US for a time. But I also, in fairness, want to mention Canada. So Canada claims, Shawn Mendes, Michael Bublé, Avril Lavigne, Celine Dion, Justin Bieber, Lara Fabian, Shania Twain, Alanis Morissette, Sarah McLachlan, The Weeknd, Anne Murray, Loverboy, Bare Naked Ladies, Nickelback, Bachman Turner Overdrive, Rush, Diana Krall, Bryan Adams, Joni Mitchell, Leonard Cohen, Tom Cochrane, Alana Miles, Steppenwolf, April Wine, Triumph, Honeymoon Suite, Saga, Sheriff, and Tal Bachman, and Randy Bachman. So I bring this up because Canada, and there's more, of course. Canada has produced a lot of really, really talented. I should have. There's a lot of metal bands, so not metal, but harder rock bands. I probably should have included too. 3 or 4, maybe, not a lot. But so we came off of about 200 incredibly talented bands from the UK. We had about 160 out of the United States, and per capita, the size of the United States is so much bigger geographically. Then you have Canada, which is huge. I only came up with about 67. And again, there are other really good ones that should have been included, but let's take it to 70 or 75. Then we have Sweden, which is ABBA, Roxette, Ace of Base, Europe, the Sputniks, Cardigans, a few others. Of course, you have the Yngwie Malmsteens and other bands like that, but they're smaller. But not that many. I mean, a few. And then we have Australia and whatever. So really, guys, it's pretty fascinating that if you look at how big these other locations are, again, geographically, looking at landmass, compared to the UK, I'd have to say the greatest bands and singers over the longest haul have come out of the United Kingdom. Now, what is also interesting, and the reason I use the word the vortex is because it's almost as though in the 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever, the greatest vortex or influence started in the UK and it kind of migrated over the United States and then went up into Canada, almost like a spirit, so to speak, kind of went from these areas. A little bit in Sweden and so forth, in Australia, whatever. But that it's kind of like for rock and for, let's call it, I want to use the word serious talent. And I know people are going to get, you don't call The Weeknd serious talent. Okay, they're very talented guys. I'm not saying that, the Brendan Urie's and the people that are out there doing it now aren't talented, but I'm saying the bulk, the total sum. But it's interesting because if you look to the east, and you look at Dino Jelusic, for example, I'd say Dino is every bit as good as any David Coverdale's, Ian Gillan's, like any one of these guys. And you can argue with me. I don't care. It's how I feel. Dino Jelusic, you've got, Dimash. Holy cow. Kudabergen, you've got Dimash from the East, Eastern European countries. My own student, Gabriela Gunchikova. You see a huge influence of, as though they kind of got late in the game. Now, not Dimash because he does more of an operatic thing, but they were kind of late to the party. But there's this resurgence of really genuine, I want to win this at talent, not at auto-tune or at my latest greatest YouTube video, which I find really, really fascinating. So it's almost like the vortex has moved more to the east for this kind of serious, talent, and we've sort of seen a decline of Western civilization in that sense of really great music, as far as I'm concerned, from a true songwriting talent, not singles that come in every 30 days. One comes in for 2 months and is out. One comes in for 30. These are bands that have lasted for decades, and we've just sort of seen the decline of Western civilization when it comes to that. If you think I'm wrong, please put in the comment sections your opinions. I totally welcome it, but it's how I see it. I have to say the greatest talent has come from United Kingdom overall per capita, and then US, and it kind of breaks down after that. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me, and until next time, God bless you. Peace out. I'm gonna sing.